You and me stuck in a lifelong conversation, a story with no start, no end. I try to keep away, remain a long time distance, but you always get me in the end. Irrational thoughts, why are you coming back to my door when there's no room for you? I know I buried you long ago. When there's no room for you, I know I buried you long ago.
can shine in a crowd, we never hesitate. Let us rise to the clouds. Got nothing to lose, I know the time is right. Let us light up the fuse. And I know, and I know, and I know, and I know we're perfect, you and I. And I don't, and I don't, and I don't, and I don't giving up without a fight. What I feel, I know it's right.
Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of the Pixel Crashers podcast, a podcast where we discuss stuff and video games occasionally. I am Angelus de Mortiel, together with KevN7.
Pony life, pony.
Shit, I forgot to unmute him.
He only does it because I'm a pony, and he doesn't like it apparently.
And stuff. We also have Xaiphen here.
Pony is life.
Yeah, and I may have played some games or something, or at least pretended to look at them.
That's okay. I just apparently tried to break the Skype call. That's always the fun part.
So you broke the Skype call, you broke the podcast, you made Travis go into hiding.
Yeah, I don't even know where Travis is.
And you forgot to update the the title in Restream. Because on the YouTube it says Dragon Ball.
Well, that's your own damn fault.
Nope.
Oh yeah,
Nope.
yeah. I forgot to update the title.
It's in the last time I streamed.
Yeah, that is a problem. So yeah. In any case, we're not playing Dragon Ball. That is not the thing that's happening.
But somebody came to the stream to watch Dragon Ball. You've lied to them. It's okay. We'll do some next week.
Apparently,
You'll feel better.
Okay, so it should be updated everywhere now. Good times. So. Fun stuff. It has been an interesting week. I've been dead for at least half the week and part of last week, so that's been great.
You survived the man flu.
On your resurrection.
Yeah,
Congrats on surviving the man flu.
You need to have a friend that's going to move a stone for you.
That's really always the challenge is having that bud that's just going to look out for you and move the stone out from in front of your tomb, because that's really the trick of it. After you resurrect and stuff, it's really difficult to move heavy objects. You don't have your full strength back yet, and you're just like, yeah.
You also got to watch out for the zombie hunters, because that rotting flesh confuses people a little bit.
Yeah.
Is this the point where we call on Goku to defend us all?
Sure.
I mean, we're all talking about some left field shit.
Yeah. So Kev has been playing way too many console games recently, which is, I guess it's fitting. That's about what we expect. Hence why he's been playing the fighter game, which is actually not just on that's on PC as well, I guess. But
Xenoverse 2 or whatever.
No, the Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. It's a game that is played by Kev, and
it's like Marvel versus Capcom, but with Dragon Ball on it.
Sure.
And y'all can't fuck with me when I got Gohan. I whoop ass with Gohan. Fuck with me.
Here's the important thing: has Gohan ever learned to dodge?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, obviously.
Why didn't you dodge?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he obviously learned to dodge many times over. I think that was somewhere around the Cell Saga, whenever he went Super Saiyan 2.
That's actually about where I'm at right now. I watched the series for the first time. He just whooped Cell's ass.
I personally recommend just watching the abridged version, because it's better. But unfortunately, they haven't got to that stage of the Cell Saga yet. They kind of got hung up by something. I don't know what. But I've been
watching the regular dubs, and I'm fine. I'm happy with it. And on the Frieza Saga, I felt like it just drug on, but other than that, it was some fun.
Abridged isn't so. It's a parody, so it's not actually just like
it's a combination of things. It's translated. It's a parody, and of course, by its title, it's bridged, so you don't have all that ridiculous, time-consuming.
You mean the episodes where they're just screaming?
5 episodes of.
I'm just increasing your power level. I love it. Pure testosterone.
It's like this planet is gonna die in 5 minutes.
3 episodes later.
It's like this is gonna take 5 minutes to charge up this attack. In hindsight, 5 minutes is kind of a ridiculous thing in a real fight.
My thing is, if it takes 5 minutes to charge my power level, why the fuck am I still standing there just waiting for it?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stand there for 5 minutes while Piccolo powers up.
Yeah.
Like, we know what Super Beam Cannon does. Move!
Gotta come up with a good name for it. Super Beam Cannon. Is that really the best you could come up with?
No, the move that I always like though, Gatling gun. I love Vegeta's move. I like Vegeta though. Vegeta's a fucking hater, but I love Vegeta.
Yeah, like I said,
you're hating the whole time.
You really should check out Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
I might after I'm done with the main series. Like, I'm right at the end of the Cell games.
Yeah, well, the thing is that like they haven't caught up to that point yet, so you can probably in one afternoon. I'd say that you could probably knock out at least the majority of up to getting to the Cell games, at least to the Android Saga, I would say, and yeah. You'll get a lot of laughs out of it because it's good stuff. But them Fighter Z, I've heard good and bad things about that game. Like
gameplay is awesome. The servers are shit.
Yeah,
and it's
ouch. I can kill gameplay right there. So gameplay can only be so awesome.
Exactly. Like to me, it's one of the best fighters I've played in the last few years. But I mean, even despite it being, overly simple, I've had the most fun with it. Playing with my kids, just beating the shit out of them with Gohan.
Yeah,
like, you can use all 3 of your characters. I'm just gonna use Gohan. I don't even use grown Gohan. I use teen Gohan.
So it sounds to me like that essentially you're not fighting strong enough people then.
That's because I can't get them online. I can't get into matches with them online. I have to go into single player, play it on hard.
But well, the other thing too is I heard that the what was it the like kind of the gameplay modes of the game are just not really all that great, to be honest. Like they were just kind of like bland repetitiveness to it, essentially, that it wasn't really all that well fleshed out. Like the gameplay
kinda, yeah. It's like if you like the fighting and the fighting style, you'll like, especially for me. So I've never played Marvel vs. Capcom, any of them. But I've seen it, and this looks a lot like Marvel vs. Capcom. The tag team kind of fighting with the assists and everything, jumping in and out. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody has like their one knockout, and then you go back, or you go through each of them. Each person gets knocked out, and you move on to the next match. And with the Dragon Ball skin on it, and I'm having a blast with it. I think it's I've heard this is my first Dragon Ball game that I've actually got into. I tried Xenoverse. It was mostly because I didn't want to play. I didn't want to deal with spoilers, so I put them down. But I like it, and I've heard it's probably the best AAA Dragon Ball Z game there is.
Yeah.
I don't know of any indie ones either. I just heard that this is the best one.
A lot of I guess charm comes in is the fact that they have, a lot of unique voice lines to the game. They have like interesting interactions between the characters and stuff like that, and sometimes asking really important questions like, did Vegeta ever do silly poses like the Ginyu Force?
Vegeta's too proud of that. We all know it. So no, but the real question is,
wonder about Vegeta's mustache.
And while we're talking about fighting games too, I want to know, when are they going to add Goku to Injustice? They added the Ninja Turtles, so we know they're open to adding just about anyone. I know that the Ninja Turtles have had an ongoing comic series with Batman, but they're up to adding just about anyone. So let's add Goku and finally have that Goku versus Superman match.
We need to get the rights from Bandai or.
All I'm gonna say is, that's just gonna be one more Superman that's never gonna walk again.
Mm-hmm. Give the people what they want. Goku versus Superman.
Unfortunately, in a lot of the DC universe, they've Injustice, they've built him up to be pretty. He's not terribly all powerful in that game, but
For the most part, he is.
Huh?
He can be beaten, but you have to be clever about it in terms of story. That's the way the story's built up.
Yeah, exactly. That's I mean, the ending of that shit, though, that can go dark as fucking Injustice, too.
Yeah, I've seen both endings. I beat the game, and I beat it and actually chose the darker ending.
Yeah, Superman's ending.
Yeah.
That shit gets dark as fuck.
Yeah, that shit's dark as hell. Batman's is kind of
It's what you'd expect.
Yeah, I actually found Superman's actually be a better ending, even though it's super dark. Well, I like dark shit, too, so.
Yeah. But then again, it's kind of a lot of Superman fans get annoyed by the fact that everybody seems to always lean on this whole, like, Superman is a dictator type of storyline that just keeps getting replayed over and over. And I'm like, well, Injustice, that's a continuing story. That's kind of really, that's how that's been played out. That's not a new story for them. But it's kind of getting translated into a lot of the movies, I guess. I haven't seen Justice League.
I haven't seen any of the new DC movies, so I refuse to pay for them.
I saw Batman v Superman because it was free, and I was just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, the last one I saw was...
I'm sorry, I saw Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman was actually good.
Oh, see, I heard it was SJW nonsense. That's why I didn't go see it.
No. Like, so here's the problem that I have is, though the SJW nonsense was the whole, like, we're going to have an all-female viewing of this movie. And I'm like, why? Because Wonder Woman is a strong woman?
I like strong women.
Well, no, I know. I'm saying, like, I didn't understand why you have to have an all-female showing. You don't have Superman and then have an all-man viewing of Superman.
Oh, no, I'm in agreement with you. It's
like,
ridiculous.
It makes no sense. It's like, for all the tons of movies with a strong female lead, do you need to have an all-female showing of that? Yeah, and it's like...
Just wait, because Tomb Raider's next.
It's the thing is that I tried to divorce myself, divorce the movie from the political people outside of the movie that are pulling that shit. Like, the fact that they had an all-female showing of it to try to, like, pump up some, like, gender politics, I didn't even consider that when watching the movie. The movie was good enough,
Okay.
It's just
you
like...
do it like I do basically every other kind of media.
Well, it's just like with Black Panther. Whenever I will eventually see that guy, I still have to see Thor.
But they're going to have an all black people showing.
Well, no, that's the thing is that
there's going to be anti-white guy showing.
You read all the reviews, you can just tell, like, all the major reviewers are heavily political about it. Like, I love the one that was like, it's a very accurate portrayal of the struggle of people of color. I'm like, motherfucker, it's taking place in an African country that is the most advanced country in the world technologically, that they have no wants, no concerns, no fears, anything like that. I'm like, accurate portrayal.
That was a funny thing. There was a
like, have you seen Africa lately? Africa is the struggle. Africa is the real hood.
Like, yeah, like, you don't have to worry about a warlord genociding you this week. Well,
the real, how much it would devastate the countries around it just because of the status they kept for themselves and did not fucking help out a shit.
I think that actually might play into the movie a bit, to be honest with you. Is that they actually touch on that.
You got some areas in Africa that are pretty fucked up as is, and it was saying, like, they would be worse. It would be like a desolate wasteland. It would look like Australia.
Yeah. Well, no, that's I actually do believe that they touch on some of the aspects of Wakanda being such an isolated country of, like, power like that and not helping out the countries around them, so to speak. and that's fine. I have no problem with that at all. I kind of think that that's a kind of a cool thing to touch on, and I have no doubt that the movie is actually superb. Just because Marvel has been, you know, home run after home run with their movies. So
Too bad not with their comic books.
yeah, no. But the thing is that they seem to add enough of a unique spin on each movie. I heard Ragnarok was just perfect movie. You know, it fit Thor perfectly, kind of spun him and made him into his own character a little bit better than before. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure the Black Panther also managed to get this unique flavor to it. So it's like, I have no doubt it's a good movie. So whenever I read the reviews that are hyper politicized, I'm just like, whatever, I'm not going to pay attention to you. You obviously don't care about the movie as a movie. You care about the movie as a political statement. And I'm like,
like when it comes to movies, though, that to me, that's not that. Like, okay, you have, even if you have one of the more expensive theaters nearby you, and you want to spend that kind of money on it, the theater's worth it.
mm-hmm.
Even then, like, what's the most expensive ticket that you can find for actual cinema? What?
$60 if you get a PlayStation game.
Clever. But even then, it's still not enough of a financial setback to most people. Like, you know, and I'm including a lot of lower middle class. For it's like, oh, I've got to study this review before I spend my money on the movie. Like, just go fucking watch the movie. Does the trailer look good? Do you like the premise behind it? Go watch the damn movie.
If it's that big a deal,
and Redbox expensive. Do a little bit of drive-in, or whatever your method of travel is, and find a cheaper one.
Yep. And
but they keep telling me they're riding on the back of a fat man. Is it right when I'm a fat man?
No, that's
but going back to Mort's point too about social movements. I mean, people are going to do that about anything. You know, are you? Because I mean, think about it now. How many times have you done that with games where you've outright said you're not buying a console because you don't believe with their business practices?
Well, it's here's the thing: is that when it's not so much it's not a political statement on there. I don't buy consoles because I feel like the value proposition they offer is not worth it. The hardware itself sometimes is better priced than what PC can offer up front. However, when you factor in the cost of ownership over time, consoles are just not as good of a deal for me.
Mm-hmm. You know, I agree with you.
Well, that's where I'm at on there. It's like I especially don't agree with now as a separate point, not why I won't buy a console. A separate point, I think that Sony's walled garden approach, where they won't allow multiplayer crossplay across platforms. I know why they're doing it. The motivation is transparent to me. It's because if other people can play with their friends on other platforms, then they are not incentivized to buy a PlayStation. If they already have an Xbox One or a PC, they have no reason to buy a PlayStation, because the PlayStation itself is not really that exciting of a piece of hardware. That's the reason why they do the walled garden, because then you're forced into their ecosystem if your friends are there. It's not a reason for me not to buy.
I debate that for another reason. I think it's less about the hardware, and when it comes to consoles, it is about the software more so than anything else. Where on PC, hardware is a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal on console.
What I mean is, like, the hardware isn't that exciting. What I'm talking about is that if you strip away the exclusive games, if you strip away anything else along with the game, and you just show me the console itself, give me a box, just the box, the hardware itself. What does the PlayStation hardware offer?
What does any console offer in that respect?
Hold on.
Consoles are for the exclusive titles.
The Switch offers a unique platform.
That's why I said consoles, like, in general. Nintendo focuses, I think, too much on input. They focus way more on input, way more on how you interact with the hardware.
Well, than they
do putting actual hardware, graphical hardware.
It's not a too much sort of thing. Is they're trying to make themselves stand out. Like, you look at PlayStation versus Xbox. You know, granted, they're doing little microscopic one-ups of each other, like Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Pro, Xbox One X. It's still all the same shit hardware-wise.
Yeah,
Like,
hardware. Yeah, hardware. It's identical. That's why I bring up the software.
No,
these
no,
two
no.
boxes are nearly identical. Software is a little bit different, but not excessively so. And then there's the Switch.
Well,
You have the approach to the software that's different. Where I look about Sony right now, they're really focusing on single player linear shit. I'm like, I've been wanting that from everywhere else.
and the thing is,
Xbox isn't putting out really software. When they do, it's generally generated toward social gaming.
well, what my point was is that the console itself, Xbox versus PlayStation, there's really they might as well be the same thing. Like, there's not really anything unique between them. Even the PS4 Pro, yes. Xbox One X, as a hardware component, there's really nothing unique there. Which is where my point is that the value proposition for a PlayStation or for an Xbox comes into things like the exclusive game titles, which, to be honest with you, I can understand first party, like it's made by Sony, whatever. Okay, I don't like it, but I can understand it. But at what point you get Sony paying companies for timed exclusive bullshit? Like, ooh, get all maps first on PlayStation.
Or like Street Fighter 5, or even something like I don't like the third party shit either.
Yeah.
Like like what they did with Rise of the Tomb Raider. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you can't get it on PlayStation for a year. That was bullshit. Or we're gonna keep Street Fighter 5 off of Xbox. That's bullshit. But like the first party stuff, that's purely what I'm pushing on is I really feel like Sony does a really good job with first party games. And for me personally, that's what it is I like about PlayStation. It is the first party stuff. It is the exclusive titles. Otherwise, I just play PC all the time.
My thing is that if the games were not exclusive to PlayStation, I feel like that we could experience them better on PC.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
That's my thing, is that essentially we're getting a slightly the game itself is still gonna be the game, right? You're like, if it's a good story game like Uncharted or something like that, you're still gonna have that same story, right? So that's not really
it's still gonna be fun. It's still gonna play well regardless on where you play it.
It's not a
do you want to enhance that experience?
Yeah, it's not gonna be huge difference. It's not gonna be like, oh my god, it's a whole new world now that's on PC. No, the game's still gonna be the
60
game.
60 FPS.
Yeah, but you will have a slightly better experience on PC, and I feel like
you're being generous.
Well, no, like I said, because to me, like when you look at an example like Uncharted looks great on PlayStation. It's like I said, it might run a better frame rate on PC, but overall, you're still what makes the game, like what really kind of the meat and potatoes of it is going to be the same no matter what platform it's on. And that's the story, the characters, the voice acting, the kind of action setups, that sort of thing is still going to be the same. You're going to get some slightly better frame rates and graphical fidelity. And it is a noticeable difference, and it will be better on PC, but overall, is it like the game is still going to be the same thing? And that's where I'm saying you're going to see a slight better experience on PC. It's not going to change the entire game itself. But my main thing is that why can't I have that option to have that slightly better experience? I can't because Sony paid Naughty Dog big money to not do that. And I believe...
Well, Sony owns the studio.
Yeah. The only thing I can say that would be an exception to that rule of slight, more than slightly, would be, interface options that improve the quality of the gameplay enough to be more than slightly. And usually if that's the case for the game, they're not bothering with console to begin with, like say Eve.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's the thing. If you want better controls, controls are a big deal to you, you go to PC. Because they don't even let you change the shit on console.
Exactly. But if you had a game like that was also available on a console, or MechWarrior Online, or a lot of games that require an elaborate control interface, where a keyboard definitely has a significant advantage over that, and it will improve your quality of gameplay just because of the way you interact with it. It's going to make the game more fun to you because it's easier to interact with. Then PC becomes a significant, or it becomes more than just slightly better. Other than that, though, and like I said, usually if that's the case for the game, they're not bothering with a stunning control interface anyway. They're just going to say, we're doing PC and that's it. That's fine.
Well, I think a lot of it is, and where I'm kind of going with that is that I feel like that using your games in order to sell the hardware tells me that you're not confident in your. That's kind of been a long time point that I've made against consoles, is the fact that when you look at consoles, nobody talks about consoles, like, unless you're a fanboy, in which case, oh my gosh, my Jaguar CPU is 100 megahertz faster than yours. Oh,
your Jaguar CPU is still dog shit.
Yeah, it's I'm sorry, it's like comparing what's better, a fucking Pinto or a Chevette. They're both pieces of shit.
My shit's shinier.
Like,
but no, and I agree with you. That's why I say the thing with consoles is purely a software thing. Mm-hmm. And I think in terms of software, like if we only talk about the software, I really like what Sony's doing, and that's what makes me a fan of PlayStation. And most of the console players I talk to about that say mostly the same thing. They're fans of the software. They know the hardware isn't good.
Yeah, but my thing is that why I'm big on like being able to choose what I want. Like with PC, you know, like, do I want to have a less expensive console and then maybe spend my money on a more expensive monitor or something like that, or do I want to have the best toppity top hardware in my PC and then still have a 1080p monitor?
Yeah, I don't know why you do that. Which actually makes me think about one of the stories I brought up. But yeah, you got a 1080p, you got a 4K card and a 1080p monitor. You should be ashamed of yourself, sir.
Yeah, but that's my thing, is that you know, I like the fact that I have that choice. I have the ability to, if I so want, I can choose the level at which I want to, like, what hardware pieces I want where, what peripherals I want where. And I think part of my issue with consoles on that is that I'm essentially stuck. I have to, if I want to play Uncharted, I have to have a PS4, PS4 Pro. They don't really give you much any option on what you can do with that. And I kind of am like, I would prefer to have more choice with that. Do I want to play it with a keyboard and mouse? Do I want to play it with a controller? Do I want to play it at high graphics, low graphics, whatever? Do I not want to pay $60 a year to use my own internet?
Mm-hmm.
But
see, I don't. Well, my job paid for my internet this time around.
But no, it's like that. That a lot of it is the fact that I just feel like that a lot of it is there's not enough choice with consoles, and I would love those games. I would love to be able to play those games, but I don't feel like that the value to spend down, like to put down on hardware, is worth it to me.
See, and I personally think you're overlooking it, kind of, or overthinking it. I should say the same way we said, you know, just go enjoy the movie. My thoughts are just go enjoy the game. In the me, it is about
but
access.
There's a difference.
Sometimes
With a movie, yeah, you don't have to go and buy the theater before you go see the movie.
Where can I get a movie theater for $200?
Well, no. My point is that like go see a movie. Yeah, I spend $20 on a movie ticket, and then bam, that's it. I don't have to spend $200 and then spend $60 on the game.
Then $60 a year. Don't forget that.
And then $60 a year. So like the financial commitment is significantly different with a console game than it is with a movie ticket. If it was just about buying $20, like for example, what's the PlayStation streaming service?
PS Now is trash.
PS Now. Well, no, I'm saying if it was good, then I'd be like, yeah, cool. I can play those games on
my. You can do that on your. You can do it on PC.
I can do that on PC. I don't have to buy anything extra for it. We're good. No complaints. It's the same thing, you know, and the fact is on PC, I have plenty of games to play. Shit. I have trouble beating the games that I have. I get. Hey, okay, I did beat the first playthrough of XCOM 2, so you know.
Good, because I still haven't.
I finally I got through that, so now I have Long War 2 installed whenever I
Did
go.
you win?
Of course I did. I'm too damn strategical thinking and stuff. And my snipers were fucking on point. Like, whenever that guy comes around the corner and he just gets fucking wrecked by like 5 sniper shots, all waiting on Overwatch, you don't fucking stand a chance.
So it sounds like you lost.
No, I that last level I fucking destroyed. I'm not gonna spoil what that last level is for you, Kev, because you probably haven't got there. But
No, I haven't.
Shit gets crazy, and I locked it down hardcore. But yeah, let's in any case, talking about that hardware, let's talk about Kev of course won't understand what we're talking about here since he's a console pleb, but I guess the Nvidia is now pretty much going straight from Volta to Ampere GPU getting released this year.
Wait, what? I missed that one.
Yeah, I was kind of like, whenever Kev was talking about that story, I was kind of like, what? They kind of skipped Volta. I know they announced the Volta as a high end.
They put out the Titan V.
Yeah, the Titan V.
$3,000 Titan V, and then that's about as far as Volta's gone so far.
Yeah, and then now I'm hearing this GA 104 getting announced, the GTX 2080, and I'm like, what? First of all, what happened to the GTX 1180? Are they just willy nilly? Let's jump around numbers however we feel like. You know, you went 7. Well, they did skip the 800.
They skipped
series.
800 series.
Yeah, they skipped the 800.
They did, but they didn't. And they had that weird snafu with mobile.
Yeah, that's true. But
like you said, skipped.
Yeah, but then they had the 9 series, the 10 series, and you'd think 11 series, right? Nope, 20. Because NVIDIA, and we can count.
That's
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20.
Somebody putting out random speculation. Somebody apparently that used to help out with the naming scheme for versions of Windows.
Yeah, but now then again, that is all rumor. Obviously, there may not be a GTX 2080, because I hear a lot of people that will say that, and I think it's like probably because people can't fucking count and don't realize that 11 comes after 10, not 20.
Well, I was just saying they were assisting with the nameology of Windows versions.
Yeah. But no, so there is the possibility that there could still be an 1180. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that NVIDIA is just kind of, because NVIDIA's obviously been having some trouble recently. They've had a lot of problems recently with all of the crypto mining, like causing vendors to jack up the price of all of their cards like by 5-fold, which actually hurt their stock price because investors didn't feel like it was a sustainable trend, right? So do you guys think that they're rushing this out to just try to like maybe get some more confidence back from investors?
No.
Yes.
I don't think that. I don't honestly think they're actually putting it out at all. They may be toying with it in their Teslas. But that's as far as they're going to go with that. I mean, for a little while until the Voltas, become more of, get more trickled down through the consumer market. Unless there's a problem with Volta, like they ran into with the Kepler Maxwell crossover, which caused the 800 series skip, they're not going to skip over Volta. But they've got a good success with the Volta. The Titan V already is a very powerful card, very expensive, but it's very powerful card. Mm-hmm. As long as they can get appropriately priced lesser versions of that integrated into the consumer market.
Wasn't the big thing about Volta though the tensor cores and being really focused on deep learning? Do you think that maybe that was the issue with Volta, is the fact that it was a little bit too heavily geared towards AI and the consumer market really wouldn't have any use for that?
Yeah.
Maybe not though. The thing is there's always a way to cut that down, unless there's too much money wasted on cutting down the silicon for lesser variants. They can cut it down, and it can still be, as long as they can cost effectively cut it down and sell it at certain consumer prices that people are going to buy into. There's, not any worry on that. Okay, yeah, it's overpowered, but it can still get the job done more than effectively.
Mm-hmm. So you guys are you guys gonna buy a GTX 2080 immediately? Pre-order it?
No.
Pre-order it and buy the special edition. And also buy the season pass.
Now I know me. I like having the new shit. I could see myself buying a 2080 at some point, or maybe even 2080 Ti. But I'm still really happy with my 1080, and I feel like my 1080 is like overkill for what I do. I feel like it's way overkill.
Truthfully, I don't think most people realize that they don't need a. Well, I think there's a the enthusiast
Sync 1440p, 100 or 144 hertz G-Sync 1440p.
I already have one of those, and I'm already doing that on my 1080.
Yeah,
at high settings. I do it at high settings with no AA.
Well, see, that's the thing, is like you're not overtaxing your you're not undertaxing your 1080. Like, you could probably max out a lot of games even with AA on there. You choose to turn AA off to make.
I choose to turn AA off because I want more, because I want a higher frame rate. Like,
frame rates. But the thing is at that point you are not underutilizing your 1080p. Or 1080p GTX 1080. It is not overkill in your situation.
I disagree because I turn off AA anyway. I don't really care about AA. I think it's a waste of frame rate for the most part once you get to a resolution that high. Mm-hmm. So I turn it off anyway. If it's a game where maybe I see jaggies like a volume, like Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, that is a game where I will use AA. So
what did you say?
Significant performance hit enabling AA on that card.
Oh, I mean, even for example, even in Destiny, I could turn the AA on, and I'll go from 200 frames a second down to about 150. I'll still take the 200, even though my monitor can't get there. I can feel it.
It's a little bit of an overbuy, but maybe by 1/2 standard. You're looking at the difference between a 1070 Ti versus your 1080 for what you want out of it versus what you get out of it. I
felt the same way when I bought my 970 too. Like, to me, I think I'm just one of those people that I probably would have been happy staying on my 970 had I had the patience for it, or even doing something like this generation getting a 1060.
Yeah.
Like, I personally want those guys to be happy in the mainstream. Like, I don't really see the difference between ultra and high. I don't care. And then minute differences that I do see, I don't really care about.
Yeah, and my thing is that running at high frame rates, a high frame rate monitor, which the thing is that being that you do have a G-Sync monitor, even if your frame rates do drop down a bit lower, it's not as painful for you as other folks. I don't know how the hell you play PS4. That's got to be such a jarring change.
Because that's the funny part is that I don't even care as much about those frame rates. I'm one of those people, I care about frame pacing. If the frame pacing is bad, or if it gets below 30, then I'm complaining. But I can happily play at 60.
I've made a point, several different times in the past on resolution versus pixels per inch versus viewing distance. Not as simple a resolution, but the actual pixel density versus viewing distance. I'm also, becoming somewhat convinced that frame rate versus viewing distance makes a difference too, because playing 60 frames, sitting 15 feet away from the screen is slightly disorienting for me. Whereas if I cut that down to 30 frames, it's not as much of a problem. Whereas if I have 30 frames, 3 feet from the screen, that is, equally disorienting in a different way.
So that's actually not what it is. It's not so much about the distance. Frame rate's all about adaptation. It's literally what you're used to. So here's the thing with frame rate. Like, people who have played on console their entire life at 30 frames per second, and the frame pacing's fine at 30 frames per second, they don't have any issues playing at that frame rate. It's because they're adapted to it. They're used to it. That's what it is. And then when they first go to PC,
kind of, because let's be real. In the 90s, we weren't constantly hitting 30. We were in like the teens and 20s often.
Or most cases, it was 24.
Well, let me put it this way. I have a 1080p monitor, 60 hertz. I have a 1080p TV, 60 hertz, actual 60 hertz, not some blown out number. It's they're both LEDs, LED backlit LCDs. I play, take my common game of choice, Warframe, which is going to be cut 60 frames, no matter what way it runs, it gets cut down to 60 frames because that's what the monitor is run for. Sitting 3 feet from the computer monitor, I find myself integrating seamlessly into it. When I get game stream it, and my network is strong, so I don't notice any stuttering or any issues or lag, delay, or anything else like that from running the Steam in-home streaming. I played on that. When I'm sitting close to my TV with the 60 frames per second, I'm okay within about 5 feet. When I sit back on the couch about 15 feet away, I start feeling a little disoriented playing that game.
So I think there's a couple of things going on there. Like, yes, the distance to the TV is a factor, but I think that there is still, as imperceptible as it is when you're sitting close, there is still going to be delay introduced, several forms of delay introduced.
It's there, but it's not significant enough that is causing my issues, because the same device, a 10-foot difference makes a difference on my disorientation.
Well, what I was meaning is the difference that I potentially would see on there would be actually control input lag, where when you hit forward and
that is that's where it starts. A game will feel sluggish to me.
Oh, okay.
Lag is this is looking at it, and the appearance of the game is disorienting to me. There is one exception to it simply being just distance. It could be the fact that I have the screen taking up more of my vision, versus when I'm further away, the screen takes up less of my vision. That could be also what's disorienting me.
Yeah, I don't know, but I do know though that like a lot of your
and all that issues.
Whenever you're dealing with something like in Kev's case, the reason why I said made the comment about Kev finding it difficult to go to console on there is because you get used to playing at 144 hertz plus, right?
Yeah, I've playing at 144 frames for over 2 years.
Yeah, and that kind of like your brain kind of gets geared at seeing that faster frame rate. So then having to go to a slower frame rate oftentimes is more difficult. Like for me, when I was playing on an Xbox 360, 30 frames per second all day, no problems. But now I go like I have a game that's running at 30 frames per second. I'm just like, oh, everything feels so sluggish and so slow to me.
See, and I feel that way when I hit 30 frames on PC. Oddly enough, on PC, it totally 30 totally feels sluggish. On console, it feels right, and that's why I think for me it's about frame pacing. If I hit 30 frames per second on my 1080, it's because I have bad frame pacing.
Well, yeah, if you start getting drop frames, I'm talking about like whenever I still had a working 360 and I would go from playing on PC at 60 frames per second, and then I would play a game on the Xbox 360.
You're talking about playing a game that's just locked at 30 and it feels disorienting. See, to me, it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
Again, it's like 60 is better. I'm not going to argue that more frames are better, but I'm not one of those people who can't play at 30. I can totally play at 30.
This will piss off a lot of PCMR guys, but I think frame rate and resolution, all that stuff, that's just preference.
Yeah, totally.
Because
it's preference and situation. Like
exactly.
Like survivor type mentality is like, okay, you've got the means and you want to dump money into it. You want to buy that damn Ferrari, or do you want to make your fucking Civic fast? I've played games like I played the Warframe on a laptop that could not fucking handle it, and I was playing, can I get 20 frames? Yes, I got fucking 20 frames. All right, I can deal with this shit.
Oh, it gets even better. You don't hear about guys playing XCOM or Civilization complaining about frame rate. You know who you hear complaining about frame rate on PC? The guys who play first-person shooters. The guys that just want to debate with the console guys. The guys who play action games. That's it.
Well, there's the people who debate. Now you've got competition shooters where I
don't see a lot of RPG guys debating about frame rate on PC.
Well, and that's one thing is like you're dealing with games that require a high amount of reflex skill involved. Yes, a frame rate can make a difference on that, and you may not see it, but it's something you're going to feel.
Right, and you see the difference now too, because now they're starting to bring that to consoles too, where they're starting to actually decrease the graphical fidelity and make the console games look worse than they already look to make them 60 frames per second on the console. I like that. Where I'm going to is I'm actually thinking about getting rid of this G-Sync monitor and I want to get a monitor that's just 4K with really nice color reproduction.
Yeah.
I'd rather make the games look better and just play at 60 at this point.
And the thing is that that a lot of people would go that route, and that's why 4K is popular. Although I still think a lot of 4K is kind of marketing hype, because I really don't think that. I think that there's a lot of technology that needs to catch up first. Like if you had a GTX 1080, I think that you still might have a lot of games struggle to maintain high settings at 60 frames per second. Yeah, well,
I use NVIDIA DSR, so I'm already playing quite a few games at 4K anyway.
Yeah,
I haven't played to see how it runs.
Dynamic super resolution is not the same thing though at running at native 4K though.
It's not. You're still putting the same demand on your hardware.
No, it's not. It is not. If you actually read its description, it actually tells you that that it's able to render at that higher frame rate and then shrink it back down while not using the same amount of resources as if it was rendering at 4K.
It's in the name. It's not static super resolution. It's dynamic super resolution.
Yeah.
It means it adjusts it and varies it as it needs to, and it picks out selective areas or areas of the image that's being framed to you on where it needs the work done. So
it's Xbox One enhanced, Xbox One X enhanced.
Well, no, that's exactly what.
I mean, it's the same thing that the Xbox One X enhancements are doing.
That's exactly what it is. Now, if you get native 4K, you may find yourself needing a second 1080 or a 1080 Ti, because if you actually look at now, granted, a lot of your benchmarks are ultra, so
that's a lot of it too. My board supports SLI.
Yep.
And let's be real. Once this new series comes out, 1080s are going to be cheap. So maybe I do go get a second one.
Granted that crypto
Yeah.
mining continues to decline.
Well, if it makes a comeback, chances are they're not going to keep going after the 10 series. They're going to go after this 11 or 20 series or whatever they're going to call it.
That's the hope. That's truly my hope. But the point
I
is,
hope
though,
it just dies slow, or that maybe they just make series of cards that are catered toward the crypto mining, the cryptocurrency.
It's going to be a fire.
Mm-hmm. But my point is though is that like to get that native 4K 60 frames per second, the GTX 1080 is just barely not quite enough. Like you might be able to do it at medium settings or maybe medium low settings and maintain that for all games. I'm talking about across all games.
Yeah, all games. Yeah, a combination of usually high and medium will do it. Some will do it at ultra, from what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
the 1080 Ti seems to be doing most games at ultra.
Yeah, the 1080 Ti that can handle most games at ultra. But the thing is the 1080 Ti, despite its name sounding like it's closer to the 1080, it's closer to the Titan.
Well, and that was the problem of why they had to release a second version of the Titan X Pascal, was because the 1080 Ti was exceeding performance benchmarks than the original Titan X Pascal.
Oh yeah, it absolutely was.
It was only clock speed. It was all on clock speed. It exceeded clock speed by a significant enough amount.
But yeah, so that's I kind of think that's a something that I think a lot of people argue about, though, is you gotta have all these frame rates and all this resolution. I'm like, those are nice.
If you want to, they're nice.
They're nice.
My argument, still debate is, and this is why I told you when you got that 1080, why get a GTX 1080 on a 1080p display? Are you looking for like some hardcore longevity?
Here's a catch, Kev, is if you have to buy in stages, you have to buy your upgrades in stages.
I do.
Do you want to get the better monitor first, or do you want to get the better GPU first?
And that's really what it is.
I think the monitor would last longer.
Well, no, you're looking to match the monitor with a GPU, but you can't buy them at the same time. You want to your financing is buy one before the other.
Right. That's totally me, because I do my upgrades at tax season.
Yeah. Well, the thing is though, is that like the way I looked at it, it was mostly just for future upgradability, because I don't intend on like upgrading my GPU for a long time. So the thing is and I am not running that thing toasty. I'm not crypto mining with it. So the lifespan of it is not going to be, short. It'll last me a long ass time.
Oh yeah, it'll last you a long ass time. It's like I saw a guy online was talking. He was running a 780 on a 720p display. He's probably still maxing out everything because he's playing on a 720p display.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And I think you'll be in the same scenario.
And it's like, at some point I probably will end up with a better monitor, and I'm okay with that. Whenever that happens, I'm not rushing out to get one, but at some point I'll probably end up with something. To be honest with you, will it be 4K? Will it be high refresh rate? That much I don't know. Most of it's been like considering, do I want something curved? Do I want ultra wide? Yeah, there's a lot of choices in there.
Yeah, but I'm looking at a lot of image quality these days.
Yeah, well, the point is though is that the thing I wanted though when I built the computer was I wanted the best hardware that I could get for the budget that was going to last me for a long time. So I overbought on a lot of the hardware that I had, and no complaints. But no, my thing is that I think a lot of people overplay what's required on a PC versus what's nice to have, and I think that's
right. Like a 1080, like an i7 and a 1080 are nice to have.
I have an i7, which I use a lot of the i7 features because my computer also doubles as a workstation and a home cloud. But when it comes to gaming, the i7 is a little bit overkill. However, my GPU imagery, I enjoy almost all the games I play. I've got a 960 and a 1080p 60 hertz 24-inch screen, and everything is very enjoyable to me. I know I could enjoy things a little bit better with the next stage up that I'm planning, but I'm very well paced with it. There's been a spike in prices in GPUs. I don't need to buy now. I'm fine with what I have. I'm not getting an upgrade at this point in time.
Yep.
When or if I will, when that's going to be, it could be 5 years from now, and I can still be okay with this hardware at that point in time.
I will say that a 970 is going at pretty good prices these days.
Yeah, I think I got like when I sold my earlier share, I got about 200 for it. RPG 200, which isn't bad. Wasn't bad. And like I said, the most recent part, the reason I upgraded from my 970 is because I wanted to play at 1440p. I wanted to get the full 1440p 144 hertz without having to downgrade my graphics to like low settings. That's why I got off the 970, because I was playing at high settings, getting 60 frames per second on the 970, no problem.
I've got a pretty specific upgrade path I want to go for. I've got patience on my side, so it's just going to be waiting for the deals on what I'm looking for.
Black Friday.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the way that
the old stuff. I'm waiting for the next generation because I have thinking AMD is going to work better for me. It's not that I want over the other. It's going to work better for what my projects are going to be. Yeah. AMD is going to be the better choice. Yeah. I want a Vega, and I'm going to wait until Navi comes out and becomes, starts saturating the market, and Vega starts becoming old news and cheap, and I may get used. I may get new or warehouse backstocks, that are heavily discounted. Whatever the case is, I'm going to be looking at something that is possibly or likely lower than MSRP at that point in time, because the next generation or the generation after that could already be heavily into the market.
Yeah, right. And actually, you make actually some strong points, especially when you talk about why you buy the specific hardware you're buying. Like you're buying your hardware for specific tasks. I mean, even when you do that, even when you're building a gaming rig, but most people don't think about it. They're like, oh, well, what's the best money I could put in toward a gaming PC? If you're buying a PC just for gaming, you're kind of, I hate to say it, like you're kind of wasting your money, kind of not. What else are you doing with that PC? You're putting a lot of money into a multi-purpose machine, and just using it for what, video games and Pornhub?
It's like, yeah, I need a quad Xeon computer to play Minecraft. Why?
Why? I'm sure an i3 will be just fine.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. Minecraft is CPU intensive, so get an i5. Yeah. And then get like a 750 Ti. You'll be fine.
But yeah. In any case, though, just to steer it off, I think we've rambled on about
boring people.
Enough. So, I did want to actually talk about this because you know me. This is just par for the course for Morty. I did want to talk about Activision's earnings call that they had.
That's why I brought the story up.
Yeah, so I did the last Mortiel fallacy I did a little over a week ago now, about a week and a half ago. I talked about what is an earnings call and what all that is, which I'm sure, of course, neither of you guys watch, so you guys have no idea. But
actually, I did, and yeah,
I watched part of it.
Majority of that beforehand, but yes, I did actually listen to that episode.
But one of the things that really kind of kicked me, and this is one of those like stark reminders, everybody likes to focus on EA, and I bet you if you would ask a lot of people who's the biggest AAA publisher out there, a lot of people would say EA, right?
No,
they're not, and it's just to demonstrate that. So EA's like, we're big news, man. We make $800 million off of FIFA Ultimate Team microtransactions, and Activision's like, that's cute. We made $4 billion off of microtransactions last year. So that's nice. Like, so at what point are people going to continue? Do you guys think people continue the defense of like they have to have microtransactions because games are expensive to make? And Activision's like, yes, we made $4 billion in profits off of microtransactions. But it's because games are expensive to make, guys.
Yeah, I wish I had $4 billion in profits for anything.
Or I'm not sure. Hold on. I
don't
think it was profits. I think it was just revenue. So
still, I don't make $4 billion of revenue for just doing my regular job. Like, I don't get that kind of revenue or profit. It must be nice. Yeah,
sorry, it's just revenue, not profit. So that's without taking the costs out of there. But still, $4 billion in revenue is huge money for just microtransaction purchases. And I'm like, yeah.
Be nice.
So do you guys think? And there's an extra credits video, and I've
credits is on my shit list right now.
Oh no, they straight up like
they've been damage controlling hard.
Like they have been. So in the debate that I had with Tucker from Mass Effect Follower, he
the first problem is you debated with Mass Effect Follower and their shillery.
Yeah, well, he pointed to a video by Extra Credits that it was very scant on any sort of actual evidence and big on making just claims and had no numbers or anything to back anything up. It was just like, here's logically why these things are expensive. And I'm like, no. And like I pointed to Tarmac made a great video that was more or less talking about here's actual industry trends. Here's numbers. These are actual real numbers as to why AAA publishers are spending less on games.
And Super Bunny Hop did a video on that too.
Yeah, it's like here's actual facts and numbers. They're spending less.
We don't need facts and numbers. It's facts because I said it's facts. Facts.
And I'm like, this is a major problem that keeps getting perpetuated, is that people think that these microtransactions are somehow necessary for games to be a thing. It's like, no, there are tons of games out there that are perfectly fucking successful without and I when I say microtransactions, most of it is I'm boiling towards loot boxes, because I think that there are ethical microtransactions that are fairly done. Like Warframe, for example, has tons of microtransactions, and the vast majority of them are perfectly fine. There's a couple in there that I have a problem with that I feel like get ignored a lot of times whenever people are talking about them, like Jim Sterling recently. I'm surprised he brought up the unvaulting of all the Prime Warframes and how that you couldn't buy just the aesthetical packages like you could for Prime Access, as being kind of a bit of a bitch move, and well, Digital Extremes agreed with him, and I'm like, yeah, but how about those Warframe and weapon slots though? because those are pretty fucking predatory. But overall, Warframe handles most of its microtransactions pretty ethically. Not really any
Nobody
loot
bats
boxes.
1,000.
Yeah, nobody bats 1,000. Nobody's perfect.
Well, actually, I think Monster Hunter. Nobody's complaining about their microtransactions.
I don't even know what their microtransaction model is.
Honestly, I don't either. I just know they're there.
Yeah, no, it's like I know that there's
and anything to be anti-Warframe.
yeah. But the thing is, though, is I think that there is a lot of ways to do it right, and I think that instead everybody's fixated on EA's way of doing it because EA, obviously, for one game to make $800 million off of those specific types of loot boxes.
Was that Overwatch that made the 800 million?
No, FIFA Ultimate Team.
Oh, okay.
That's Overwatch is not EA.
Yeah, I realized you said EA. That.
But no, I'd be curious to see what the actual breakdown is on Overwatch's microtransactions, though, to see how much they make. Because I guarantee they probably make at least several $100 million off of that.
Yeah, I'm sure they're breaking bank.
Yeah, and people are all like, "Oh, it's just cosmetic." I'm like, yes, but it's just cosmetic. It has a significant impact to the perception of a person in the game. So,
I mean, let's think about the industries that make so much money. Oh, the cosmetics industry. They make so much money per year, making women and young girls feel like they're ugly.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's a great argument on there. So whenever someone in Overwatch is like, it's just cosmetic, my response would be like, that makeup aisle, it's just cosmetic. Tell that to your wife. It's just cosmetic.
My wife agrees. She said she bought this new lipstick that I actually really like on her, and she wears the lipstick because I like it, and then she doesn't wear a lot of makeup. Mm-hmm. And she says the same thing. She's like, "Why? I don't need it." And I'm like, "You don't. You're pretty as hell already. You don't need that.
It's just cosmetic." What if you went to the makeup aisle, and instead of selling you makeup items, instead it just sold you boxes of random assorted makeups, different tones.
One of my coworkers was telling me something about, like, she went to a store that actually did that. That was like a grab bag that you can buy like random, and it's sad because this girl's gorgeous, but she just bought it as a surprise. Oh, what's in? And she bought it with like $5. And she said, "Oh, this is cool, but I don't like any of this. I'm not doing this again."
And I'm just going to buy what I want. But it's just cosmetic.
Exactly. I mean, you got women out there that look good anyway, and they're buying all this makeup that they know good and well they don't fucking need it.
Well, they don't know that because they've been conditioned over decades of fashion magazines and so on to say
when you can't go anywhere without some guy trying to fuck you. Like, it's like blatantly obvious. I mean, maybe that's the life of a woman. I don't know. I don't get women throwing themselves at me like that every day, everywhere I go.
I think a lot of it also too is there. Yeah, I mean, if we went to wax philosophical, I think there's a lot of psychological conditioning that happens all day. It's not just women, not just men. It's everybody gets conditioned all the time for things. But that's kind of getting into a little bit deep. We're starting to get into psychoanalysis territory and sociology, and I think that goes outside the bounds of our podcast just a tiny bit.
Just a lot.
Damn it, Xaiphen, stay on topic.
Yeah, it's all Xaiphen's fault, really.
Sorry.
But so, do you guys predict? I guess with this earnings, obviously, Activision's like, "Yep, we're making bank on the microtransactions." Do you guys feel like that 2018 is going to see a shift in that at all?
I think we're gonna have to wait till 2019. A lot of the games that already have them in there, they don't want to do like Battlefront did and completely destroy the game either, because people will then say, "Oh, it's a bad game." And that's going to hurt their reputations too. I think the games that are coming out this year, they've already been developed. They probably already have the microtransactions baked in. They might try to tweak the microtransactions, I think, to make them not hurt as bad, but I don't expect them to go away. I think 2019, 2020 is about where you're going to see a shift. We're going to see, I don't know, the next season pass or something.
I pretty well agree with that.
The next kind of monetization gimmick that they're gonna try.
Actually, it wouldn't surprise me because I think about 2020, 2021, we're gonna start seeing the new gen consoles, and with the new gen consoles, I think we're gonna see a shift in how we have our games delivered. I think they're going to try to really push subscription services. You see it with Xbox Game Pass. You see it with PlayStation Now, GeForce Now. I think they're really going to try to push this. So I think Xbox is the one that makes sense because you download the games. Oh, I forgot EA Access too. You know, and they do it too, where you download the games, which to me makes sense. But I think that's where they're going to try to go because it's like, oh, well, now I can just get you to buy into my subscription service. Yeah, with Xbox, yeah, you get the exclusives day one, but you don't get anything else.
Yeah.
So now you're going to have to, oh, well, you want to play these other games? Well, you can wait 6 months to play it on our service, or you can go buy it day one. Oh, and they're going to be download only, no optical media, and nobody's going to get shit for it because it's not going to be like last gen where they sprung it on you out of nowhere. Now most people are downloading their games anyway.
Well, yeah, and I think that I think that the Xbox One PS4 genre was a little too soon for them to go no physical media, just because I think it was still a little too soon. But
I think. Yeah, but I see what Xbox was trying to do because they've done everything they said they were going to do at this point, with the exception of no game trading and Connect. Mm-hmm. Everything else that they said they were going to do, they've done.
Yeah.
And I actually like the ecosystem. I think what they did was good. I think the delivery was bad.
Yep.
Hell, the delivery was so bad it made me go out and build a fucking PC.
Yeah, no, it like I said, it was their marketing team needed completely fired and rehired, I guess. But no, I guess my thing too is I kind of, while I don't know if it's necessarily going to be subscription services, I'm just I'm not really sure. There's some angle they're gonna have to play. The reason why they like loot boxes so much is because loot boxes require minimal effort and have a lot of return, right? Mm-hmm. Because essentially I can have 5 items that actually are worth a damn, that actually took time for me to create.
Make 200 throwaway costumes.
200 throwaway items, and then throw them in loot boxes, and I make shit tons of money hand over fist over what amounted to 5 items worth of work.
And they make it extra predatory like Overwatch too. Oh, you can only get this outfit during this month-long event or this 2-week event. So now people are, maxing out their credit cards. Ooh, I gotta have that Widowmaker bikini.
Yep.
And if they don't,
creates
and now they spend $400 or $500 on loot boxes, still don't have their Widowmaker bikini, and the event's over.
Yep. And I think
rinse and repeat.
I do think that that's also I think that is something that is very easy for a company to find attractive. As with a lot of unethical business practices, it's very, very easy to say, wow, the money that's, hey, we can get all these little kids in Africa and in Southeast Asia, in the Philippines and such, to work for 5 cents a day or, 2 cents a day.
Instead it would take to feed a whole village.
Yeah, and we have almost no manufacturing costs. We eliminated 99% of our manufacturing costs by exploiting third world countries. Man, that money's so good. So good.
The American way.
Yeah, but the thing is that, hey, there are actually regulative bodies that actually investigate that and will fine you for that. Except that doesn't work for video games because they're the Wild West.
Well, I mean, they also, aren't we in a country where if you put your bank in the right country, you don't have to pay taxes?
Not as much anymore. Since the financial crash of 2007, there's been a lot of new legislation and regulations on offshore bank accounts. So it's much more difficult to have tax havens now.
Yeah, but they're still they're finding loopholes.
Well,
our good old President Trump said if you have these loopholes available to you and you're not using them, you're a moron, more or less.
And that's the truth, is that if you are, as a person, see loopholes and you don't take them, you're But at the same time, there's a difference, I think, between being a moron and being principled. If those loopholes involve directly
screwing the people,
screwing someone else over, Yeah, I think that there might be an argument for a moral dilemma there. But my thing is that I personally, while I would love to see loot boxes go away, I don't think they're going anywhere until somebody like until there is a financial incentive for those publishers to not make loot boxes anymore. I don't see them going to be going anywhere. They're too tempting. It's literally
profitable.
You are holding a fucking juicy raw steak in front of a ravenous dog and saying, I think that dog will give up and not try to eat the steak.
Now, what's interesting too is you're seeing countries like I heard Germany is outright banning them.
It's talking about it. It's investigating. So
Yeah.
there's
And
a few countries.
Like that's not going to happen in America because capitalism.
Oh, well, the thing is, though, is that there was some talk from Hawaii about investigating them as well. And here's my thing is that I've made this statement before. Like, personally, to be frankly honest, I don't fucking care if there's loot boxes in games. By all means, if that's the way you want to make money, if that's why you want to monetize it, sure. I just think that there should be some common sense, regulations. Like, just disclose that there's gambling in the game. Have some links to gambling addiction resources for people with gambling addictions, and then disclose the fucking drop rates. This is something that last piece in there. Publishers will fight you to the fucking death to avoid announcing their drop rates. Like,
because if it's 1 in 500,000 for you to get that Widowmaker bikini, you're gonna wonder how. Like, I gotta spend $500,000.
It would
have Widowmaker bikini?
It would have a huge hit to their bottom line. I guarantee you it would. And the thing is that China, of all places, actually passed legislation mandating some regulations on gambling, and I think they classified loot boxes as gambling. And they more or less said that Overwatch, you had to disclose their drop rates. So Overwatch's response in China was to instead institute a virtual currency layer in between the loot boxes and the payment, so that they could say,
because now you're not gambling real money, you're buying this virtual currency.
You're buying this virtual currency, and that was their answer to that. Instead of just disclosing their drop rates, they would prefer to make a fundamental change to their game's monetization system. That's how crazy resistant they are to that. They don't want you to know the drop rates. I think they eventually had to still, like, China pretty much was like, that's cute. No, give us your fucking drop rates. And I think they eventually did. And but the thing is a lot of people were like, we don't know if this is actually the Chinese only version, if there's any difference between the US or Europe versions or whatever. But still, that was something that, like, all of them
it says a lot.
Yeah, and the thing is it was still pretty generic at that. It was just breaking down to the rarity levels and the drops of different rarities. But that's all I think. If you're gonna have it, that's fine. Just be ethical about it. Don't be douches. Don't be scumbags. Nobody likes greasy used car salesmen. Like, don't be that guy.
It's the American way.
I guess.
It's just the American way.
But yeah, that's my thing. Is it's big money. I understand why. I personally can't stand what it does to the game development cycle, where games like Mass Effect Andromeda or Battlefront 2 get built around the loot box system, and as a result, the gameplay grind is just so dull.
Now, keep in mind, we were saying this. I think Major was the first one I heard actually complain about this back when we were playing Mass Effect 3.
Yep. And Major was on top of that shit at that time. He was saying that it inevitably changes the way the games are made. And I was like, at that time, I was like, yeah, I can agree, but it's okay.
And I'm like, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm still getting, for the most part, what I wanted. But then at the same time, it took me almost a year to unlock the damn Krogan Sentinel that came with the base game.
Well, here's the thing is that I was kind of generally like, at the time, I was like, that's fine, whatever. Until I unlocked all of the rare weapons and cards in the game, and then it fucking changes the drop table. See, that's some shady ass shit That's fucking 3-card Monty. Like, you know, oh, where's the queen at? Well, the queen was never down on the fucking table because the damn dude you're dealing with is a shyster and took it and slipped it up into his sleeve. You know, that's essentially what it is. Oh, you unlock all the rare items, and then the moment that last rare item hits rank 10, it switches the drop table around. So now all this rank 4 consumable items are now in the same place. So you never get ultra rares at any enhanced rate once you unlock all of your rare weapons. It's like, that's some shady ass motherfucking shit right there. Like straight shady. And they did it again in Andromeda. And they actually did it. They broke the shit actually.
Yeah, they did it worse than that one, because remember they also did it in Dragon Age.
Well, yeah. Well, no, Dragon Age had a different way of being shady as fuck. But no, the one that killed me was whenever they were like people that didn't even have their commons or uncommons maxed out. They maxed out all of their rares, and it more or less took the commons and uncommons out of the drop table and started giving them rank 4 ammo or consumables. So you just pretty much got fucked. You like
I remember, because that happened when they started adding all those variations of the guns, the whole drop thing. I had maxed out everything. I was trading my ultra rares. A week later, hey, here's a bunch of new commons.
Yeah. And that was kind of my quitting point on the game, was pretty much whenever they were like, hey, we're going to quadruple the amount of drops in the game without actually adding anything new. And
I had
and I'm on the fence about them, because I still go back and play it every so often. I still think the multiplayer is fun. I just don't like the progression.
No.
My major problem.
Not on the progression. Like, I had maxed out the commons, and I had a countdown. I had calculated how many uncommons I needed, to max out, which was 39. Counted it out, 39. And then that change happened, like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, because it went from 39.
So I got you know what? Fuck it. Don't care.
Yeah, it went from
fuck
39
you guys, I'm
to
going home
to 130 something instead. It's like, yeah,
like, you know what? Don't care anymore. I tried a couple of games after that. Like, I'm sick of the same old shit, and I'm never gonna get anything else. I'm done. Bye.
Yeah. Well,
my only thing with that too, and what sucks, because I actually had that same kind of attitude with it, is that I can't find a game that fills that itch that I want from Mass Effect.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing: is that so in large part, my issue was with Mass Effect Andromeda was the fact that it had all those extra drops, and the grind was even greater than Mass Effect 3, but it did not have the content variety that Mass Effect 3 had. So
facts. Like, in the guns alone.
Yeah, it's asking
they just rehash the same guns.
Yeah, it's asking you to grind even harder for shit for less. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have the energy for it. And I definitely understand the whole, like, that itch, right? And I think with the mixture of I've been have been busy with all the other games I've been playing between XCOM 2 and Divinity Original Sin 2 and Warhammer 2, and goddamn, what is with all the 2s? But
so is Warhammer 2 worth it yet?
As I said before, at full price, I would say no. And the reason why is because you essentially have to buy Warhammer 2 at full price and Warhammer 1 at full price in order to get the complete experience. And I feel like
all the DLC from Warhammer 1.
And all the DLC. So you're talking spending like $150, $200 for fucking the full package, and I'm like, no, that ain't worth it. However, if you see shit heavily discounted, you see Warhammer 1 for $20, all its DLC is like 50+% off. Sure, snatch that shit up and then wait for Warhammer 2 to go on sale for maybe $30 or something like that. Cool. Yeah.
I'm looking at it on G2A right now for on sale.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not going to buy anything from G2A because they're scumbags, but I mean, if you really want to go that route, that's fine.
Oh, see, I just figure, hey, meet a scumbag move with a scumbag move.
Yeah. Sure.
Right.
But the thing is that I would personally say not screwing them over on Warhammer 2. Warhammer 1, by all means, rip them off. But Warhammer 2, they actually tried to do right. They didn't add a whole bunch of bullshit DLC. They made all of your DLC purchases from the last game carry over, so that way you're not buying shit over again. So like I said, they seem to try to do right by the community with Warhammer 2, and I kind of appreciate that move, that they took a lot of the feedback that people had said, yeah, this is a bunch of bullshit, and they were like, okay, yeah.
I mean, it's basically just glorified DLC.
Yeah, it was a DLC framework. That's the Chaos Warriors being a pre-order item. A lot of people had problems with that, which then they added later on for like $7-8, and then you had
Not
like
too much.
every a bunch of major factions were $7-8. I'm like, really, you guys are, come on. But yeah, so in any case, I guess that wow, we just kind of ramble on for a long time about loot boxes.
Well,
Time's up.
loot boxes are that kind of subject that you're going to ramble on a lot about them.
But yeah, by the way though, as far as the way Warhammer handles it, like, yeah, that wasn't necessarily the best way to handle microtransactions either. You want to treat your customer with respect. Charging me $5 for blood and gore is not treating me with respect. Just throwing that out there. Like I said though, you see that whole package, like, I feel like it's a perfectly fair deal for Warhammer to, I would say, the whole package, the Total War Warhammer package, which is both games, all DLC, getting that all for $70-80, I see that as being fair. $200, no, which I think is somewhere close to where the full price count of everything would be at. So if you can get that for around $80 for all of it, all DLC, everything included, yeah, I would say that'd be a good price. But yeah, aside from that, XCOM 2 is amazing, and Divinity Original Sin 2 is also like one of the best games ever made. So
I'm also enjoying Persona 5.
I have that's one of those PlayStation games,
Well, they've rumored that it's coming to PC.
Yes, but
it is a really good JRPG.
Yep, I've heard that Persona 5 is definitely one of the best games that has been made in that series. What is it, Tension Masuga or whatever. I don't remember the actual name of the series that it's in.
I don't remember I don't know the Japanese name. I just know it's Persona.
Yeah, but any case, so final thoughts, Xaiphen.
Yeah.
Loot boxes.
My final thoughts are kind of thoughtless.
We just kind of burned up 45 minutes rambling about loot boxes.
No, it was only 30. I've been watching the clock. It was only 30.
No, we burned up another 30 talking about hardware.
Well, no, that was all about. I've been actually monitoring the time. If you guys noticed, I actually updated the title on the podcast too when we went live, and I did it intentionally based on where we were going.
Oh, where were we going? He knew. He just predicted it. It was just kind of.
I came up with the stories.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Thoughts are like, fuck. This is like not a great gaming time right now. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff, but there's a lot of stuff to fucking argue about. I mean, like,
it depends.
Cheaper option. The prices are through the roof. You get gouged by fucking AAA publishers with loot boxes. Yeah,
this is a point in time where you need to learn, where you need to be a smart consumer, read reviews, stop pre-ordering shit, and actually pay attention to what's going on around you. 2017 had some amazing releases. I'm still going through 2017 games. Right now, I'm looking at A Hat in Time, debating on, hey, do I just want to play A Hat in Time, or do I want to get a Switch to play Mario Odyssey? Should I just finish my Skyrim run, or should I play Zelda on said Switch? I used to love Zelda back in the day. You know,
I
I don't
feel
really
like
care
the
about
Switch.
Splatoon, Mario Kart. Or,
I feel like the
games.
Switch was the unsung hero of 2017. To be
it
frankly
is.
honest,
It truly was. And I want Nintendo to win. I want Nintendo to do well. I just don't see and I think the Switch is a great console. I
Yeah.
just don't see myself necessarily buying one because I'm not 100% sure that it complements my gaming setup right now. I still might buy one. I
Yep.
still might. Because I do just want one. But at the same time, I just want an Xbox One X because I like tech. I just like technology and hardware and gadgets and shit.
You should
So
really
who
get the
knows?
Switch instead. Switch
Well, no,
versus
no,
Xbox One X. Switch.
I'm not making a versus argument. I'm making a
If you're
both
really
argument.
into tech and I'm going to make the suggestion now. It's going to seem a little out there and a little bit of a stretch for you. Get into PC gaming.
I already have one. Fun. But remember, see, I think where I differ from a lot of people, though, is everybody makes it a versus argument. To me, it's not a versus argument.
Well, no, I'm saying if you have the money for one or the other, you go with the Switch.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I buy my consoles and I tend to buy my PC upgrades at a tax returns. If I'm going to upgrade my PC, like last year, I didn't buy any consoles out of the money. I upgraded my PC. This year, my PC's fine. If I want to buy a new console, I might. I'm looking at a Pixel 2. I might do that instead. I don't know. I might upgrade my streaming setup. I don't know. I might just throw it in the bank and leave it there. I don't know.
To be honest with you, I might recommend going with Samsung instead of Pixel 2. Don't get me wrong. I like the Pixel 2 XL.
I have the Galaxy. I have the Galaxy S5. It's time for me to upgrade it. I love my Galaxy. I'm interested in the Pixel 2. I'm looking at the Pixel 2 and I'm looking at the S8.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm still on the S5.
And if you upgrade from the S5 to a Pixel XL, not the Pixel 2, but a Pixel XL, you save yourself some money because it's older. You are going to notice a huge difference in performance. That S5 is lagging. It's before Samsung started cleaning up their UI to make it a little bit more streamlined. So either go newer Samsung.
Oh, I changed my launcher to the Pixel UI.
Yeah. If you want to get really techie into it, if you want to really customize your phone, OnePlus 5T is the best deal you're going to get out there.
Yep.
You can't OnePlus anything. They're very mod focused. That Google shied away from that. Going from Nexus to Pixel, it's a little bit harder to modify your phones now with the Pixels than it is with the old Nexuses. So if
I didn't know that would actually probably push me back toward the Galaxies then, because I can customize the fuck out of this Galaxy.
Yeah, the Galaxies aren't any better. They're a half stage worse than Pixels. If you want mod heavy, you go OnePlus.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy with the modifications I can do now.
Well,
So
no. So when he's talking mod, keep in mind he's talking about like rooting and shit like that.
Oh.
So
I'm not talking about routing. I'm just doing
If you're looking at like surface
adding-
mods and what you can do with it without getting into digging into root access, then
I'm not doing any of that.
it mostly doesn't matter who you go with at that point in time. You know, if you're used to Samsung's TouchWiz, you like that, and then go with the newer Samsung. If you want something that's a little bit cleaner and simpler to work with, then go with a Pixel. Now, honestly, I suggest
that's what I did. That's what I did. I don't know if you guys can see my. You probably can't even make it out because we're on the podcast and whatnot. This is what I did with my UI.
Yeah.
Because I like how I'm in the settings screen. I like how clean this is.
Yeah,
That's specifically what I like about it. I want to do something that's more akin to this. The Pixel actually already does this. I want to be able, if I make any more changes here, it would be download this app or that app, update my lock screen maybe because I want to change my lock screen up.
See, my thing is that on the Pixel 2 XL, the one thing I will say that the Pixel 2 is fucking amazing for is the camera. The camera is goddamn glorious. Like, one of the things I love about it is, and I think that they have been trying to get this onto other phones, but I don't know if you will quite see it. But the portrait mode is actually damn good. Like, it has the same functionality as a lot of your stereo cameras, like the dual camera setups that you'll see, but it manages to do it just with essentially with software. And I've taken a lot of the pictures that people might see me post up of the rabbits and whatnot are ones that I've taken myself, and essentially it will intelligently blur the background and draw the person or animal or object of focus, will be in clear focus, and it'll blur the background so it gets that really nice professional portrait look to it. And I'm
now, for people that don't know the pictures he's talking about, you got to Discord to see them.
Yeah, I spam the Discord with bunny photos constantly that just melt everybody's face. So if you want to see that,
I live in an apartment that doesn't allow pets, so I can't have my kittens.
Major stupidity, however, is putting up some strong competition with the squirrel a bit. I mean, chinchilla.
Oh, you mean the purse? Oh, he got mad when I said that.
I can't blame
that's
him.
what the purse looks like.
The thing is that I at this point expect people to say, like, make jokes about eating rabbits. So at this point I don't really get upset about it, but I definitely understand the indignation of, like, small animals get mistreated a lot. Big animals get mistreated a lot. There's a lot of mistreatment of animals all over the place.
Like when you see the elephant, that's what the piano looks like.
Yeah, but in any case, though, that's all in the Discord.
That's what my belt can look like.
If you guys want to see our arguments about animal ethics and talking about turning chinchillas into purses, that's all in the Discord as well. In any case, let me go ahead and throw on some music here to drown out my talking. Get out of here, and then as per the usual, we'll ramble off camera for a while because that's what we always do. Have fun, guys.
Oh, yeah. Really?
We can shine in the cloud, we never hesitate. Let us rise to the clouds. I've got nothing to lose, I know the time is right. Let us light up the fuse. And I know, and I know, and I know, and I know we're perfect, you and I. And I know that I know, that I know, that I know, giving up without a fight. What I feel, I know it's right.
I did, but it was too long for YouTube.
Let us start to make night.
This one? Yes. Go to Discord because fuck right?
Yeah. The Discord can only test feedback issues, see if I still have them with the setup I've got going.